I'm Richard Lewis reporting for cadred.org. I'm catching up with a friend now and someone whose name I'm going to get right this interview. It wasn't PandaTank, yes, it's a long time it is, of course. PandaTank, I know that now. And yeah, so here he is, and with a brand new lovely sponsor, CM Storm. So let's talk about that to begin with. When I met you at ESWC, you'd paid out of your own pocket to be there. You know, it was a big risk for yourself, a big financial investment, and you were saying you were hoping to get a sponsor. It's happened. That sponsor is CM Storm. So how did that come about, and what's life like with them?
Well, before ESWC, I was actually talking to CM Storm a bit. Like, I have a friend in South Africa that runs the South African branch, and he put me in contact with them. And I think I showed some pretty good games at ESWC. My results were pretty decent. Yeah. So that obviously worked in my favor when negotiating with them. And I think overall they just liked my attitude and what I have to offer. So from there we organized a deal.
And I know you've not been based in South Africa lately. You know, you've been kind of around and traveling a bit. And we'll talk about that in a second. But is the plan to be based in South Africa again eventually, or are you going to be living, you know, in America, or plans to go to Korea? I mean, what's the deal in terms of where you're going to be based for CM Storm?
Well, at the beginning of this year, originally my plans were to go, because I was in the US, and my plans were to go back. But then the whole WCS thing got announced. And I pretty much, like, if you play in the EU qualifiers, then you're locked in the region the whole time. So I didn't really have a choice. Like, it wouldn't really make sense to go back to America after that. So now my plans are kind of, I've been staying in South Africa for most of the year, but I'd like to come to Europe to train for at least a few months this year. And yeah.
Any plans as to where that might be, and is there a gaming house that maybe you might be able to move into, anything like that?
Well, I'm still looking into it. Like, I'm here for this week, and next week I'll be going to Home Story Cup 7. And then I've been speaking to some of the guys here, like friends I made, like Todd. I stayed with him and Razor House in the US, and he was saying I should come stay with him in France, so that's an option I have. And CM Storm's also looking, well, this isn't like announced yet, so, but they're looking to open up a team house soon, I believe, so that's also an option.
What do you make of the whole WCS thing then? Because I know I'm always interested to get player perspectives on it. It's obviously impacted on you in a big way. I mean, your whole life's having to revolve around it now. So how do you think it's been executed, and what do you think of it now that it's here? Are you happy with how it's going?
I think the execution's a bit poor, to be honest. For me, it's really not ideal because, like I say, I don't have the freedom to go to the US for a few months and try there, and then try in EU. Like, I have to commit myself to EU now for the whole year. I think most people agree that having people being able to play in a region that's not where they live, their place of residence, is a little bit unfair, because now it's not that interesting anymore. We just see Koreans dominating everywhere.
But of course, I mean, it works both ways. I mean, you're South African, so yeah.
I wouldn't be able to play at all, I guess. So I don't know. It's tough for me. I guess. I think it would be nice if they somehow incorporated, like, the smaller, less developed countries like they did last year in some way. Maybe not, like, we obviously not get our own region, because that would just be silly, but like maybe have like a feeder tournaments for the more less developed countries into one of the main regions, like Europe, for example.
Well, we talked a lot actually last time we did our interview about the South African scene, and I know from my esports coverage in general that the South African scene's actually surprisingly well developed. I mean, it's got I would say a decent infrastructure there. It's got a good number of players. There's an interest there. The prevailing issue, of course, is sponsors and money, so you can get out of South Africa to play at foreign tournaments. Has that situation improved? I mean, you being picked up by CM Storm is a big deal. Are more sponsors starting to look to South Africa to pick up new talent?
It's kind of difficult to say. I know, like, recently we have a few relatively big I say relatively because obviously it's relative to South Africa,
Yeah.
but like a few MGOs that have picked up some decent sponsors. I know like Monster has been looking into some teams, and Alienware, like some, pretty good sponsors. The problem is no one's really at the level where they can get paid yet, besides me. So it's still, for everyone else, it's just a hobby, and they're getting some gear, and stuff on the side, which is better than nothing, but it's not going to, it's not going to make you a pro gamer. You're not going to get to the level where you can actually compete, so it's kind of tough still.
I'm glad you brought yourself up in terms of your own ability. I was amazed because when we talked, you've been introduced to me as a South African StarCraft 2 player who'd paid to be here, and I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, bro. And that's the truth. You really surprised me, and took a map off Stefano. Got some great results, and ever since then I've been following what you've been doing. And I've been like, fuck, this guy's actually really good. Do you think you've improved like a lot? Since then, and do you see yourself as now being, the equal of, say, any American player, any European player?
I think I've definitely improved a lot since last year. Compared to American players, I'd say I'm probably near the level of most of the top ones. I'd say there's still quite a few Europeans that are above me, like the Lucifrons, Naniwa, Grubby, etc. But I think under the right circumstances, I could definitely reach their level. I don't doubt that. It'll just take time and the right opportunities. But I think I'm well on the way to achieving that.
I know as well you've, like say, been spending so much time kind of on the road and traveling and having a good time, as well as looking to develop your game. You spent a lot of time out in California. Tell us about that, because I'm really interested. You were so psyched about the prospect of going to it when we talked in France. So now that you've been there and done it, was it as everything you thought it was going to be?
It was a really good experience. Like I got to meet some great people, like Mr. Bidder in Rotterdam. Really nice guys, and they helped me out a lot. Now that we're friends, I can ask them for advice on stuff, or they hook me up with contacts, stuff like that. So it's really good. Also, I met Todd. He was staying in the house when I got there. He gave me some really good tips to improve my game. Unfortunately, while I was staying there weren't that many players. It was just me, Todd, and Gix for most of the time. Like, it would have been, obviously it would have been nicer if there was more people in the house to practice with or whatever. But overall it was still really fun.
And what about the social aspect of it? Because I know you got to go to Vegas with Mr. Bitter. Can you tell us anything about that? Lift the veil a little bit. Was it as crazy as I think it is?
Well, I went with Rotterdam to Vegas. He was working and I tagged along. It's a really fun place, and I was lucky to have Rotterdam with me because he's a really generous guy. Yeah. So yeah, we had a good time.
Obviously, without going too much into it, was there? What was the main vice out there? Was it drinking? Was it gambling? Was it girls? Was it all three? All of the above?
A little bit of a little bit of each. Mostly drinking and gambling, but yeah.
I'm glad a bit of glamour is needed in StarCraft 2, I think. So let's talk about DreamHack, man, because you've done so well, I think, again here. Your group wasn't a piece of piss, so to speak. It wasn't a walkover by any stretch of the imagination. You got through it, and right now you're looking pretty sharp. So how are you feeling, first of all, about your group performance and what's coming up next for you?
Well, my first group, I think originally I had Baby Knights, and he would obviously be the favourite to take the group. I think my games with him would be really close, because we're both pretty strong in PvP. But he dropped out, so I got a little bit lucky there. I managed to top my first group 3-0. Some of the games were quite close, but I managed to pull through anyway. Then we just finished our second group stage now, and I took second place in the group, so I advanced to group stage 3. I lost to Tearful, Dignitas Tearful, kind of disappointingly, but I managed to beat Arthur, the Korean player, formerly on Team Slayers, and Salt the Wound as well.
Do you know, I haven't even seen yet, but do you know who you're going to be playing next? Has that been drawn yet? Has that happened?
No.
It hasn't happened. They're getting head shakes, so that's a shame. Is there anyone you would like to play then in the next round, or is there anyone you'd like to avoid? I mean, I'm guessing everyone wants to avoid the high-ranking Koreans that are here, so it's kind of easy. But tell me, is there anyone, like say, you would like to play, and anyone you would like to avoid?
I'd probably like to play mostly Protoss if possible. No player in specific, but just Protoss in general, and avoid, like you say, Life, Tasia, those kind of guys. Yeah.
Realistically, how far do you feel you can go at this DreamHack? Because, you know, whenever you come into Europe to compete, it seems to go well for you. So, I mean, do you think you could be another surprise package this tournament?
I hope so. I think I play pretty well at tournaments in general. I think I have a pretty decent mindset when it comes to live games. I've got a lot of LAN experience, not necessarily in StarCraft, but I played, you know, like a lot of games, Counter-Strike and stuff. We played a lot of LAN tournaments, so I got the feel for it. I'm hoping I can make it out of this next group stage. I think it'll kind of come down to luck, who I get in my group, and just how the games go in general. I think if I make it out of the group, I'll be extremely happy. If I don't, I still will be relatively happy with my performance.
What have you made of Sweden so far, since you're on this like world tour, the PandaTank world tour? How does it rank out of all the countries you've been in recently? Are you enjoying it?
I haven't got to see that much, to be honest. Like after the games are finished, I definitely want to go check out some of the bars and stuff.
Just make sure you get there before 2 o'clock.
But overall, it's really nice. Expensive, obviously, especially for me. But I mean, I think a lot of people say this, but a lot of really pretty girls in Sweden. Yeah, and it's really beautiful as well. Like, it's basically just one big forest, just trees everywhere, and it's really pretty.
I just want to ask you as well, we talked a little bit about this. I don't know if it was the beer talking, but we talked about you and casting, and you know, you've got quite an analytical mind, and it was something you said you were really interested in. I know you've been real busy with everything else, but is it anything you've made any steps towards progressing?
Unfortunately not, no steps yet. I think next week when I'm at Home Story Cup, I'll definitely try getting on some games, see how that goes, maybe see if anyone enjoys it. Maybe after that I'll think about, you know, like just maybe getting into it part-time. I still obviously want to play for now, for sure, but it could be really fun to just do that on the side.
I know everyone's wanting to do shout-outs to sponsors, so I'll let you do that. Is it just CM Storm? Is there anyone else you want to thank?
I'd like to just thank CM Storm, Coolmost obviously, but I really appreciate them sending me out here. It wouldn't have been possible without them giving me this opportunity, and I hope I can make them proud.
All right, well, it was great to catch up with you again, Rob. Thanks a lot for doing the interview. Best of luck, not just for this tournament, but Home Story Cup. I don't know if I'm going to see you there, so hopefully we will, but if not, that's 2 tournaments you can win, brother. Keep it going. To all the people out there at cadred.org, do stay tuned to the website. We're going to have more interviews like this one from here at DreamHack Summer 2013.